Thank you all for being here for our monthly MoAD open mic. I'm thrilled to have poet Shaiye featuring this evening. My name is Nia McAllister, and I'm the Public Programs Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora. As we begin, again, I invite you to share in the chat where you're joining us from. As many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent, our institutions were founded on the exclusions and erasures of Indigenous people whose lands we are located on. MoAD occupies the unceded land of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, and we pay our respects to the Ohlone people and their elders, both past and present, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We encourage everyone to learn more about the native lands that you occupy by visiting nativeland.ca. MoAD's monthly open mic is a space for community. It's one where we bring our full selves and the spectrum of our feelings, experiences, and perspectives that shape us. In this space, we can use art as a means to connect with one another and find comfort and joy in each other's company. I want to emphasize that everyone is welcome in this space. And as always, it is of the utmost importance that we continue to center respect and continue to create spaces that amplify Black voices. So thank you for those who are returning participants of the open mic, and thank you to those who this is your first time. I'm so excited to see new faces in the audience. So I'll give a brief overview of what today's event will look like. So we have a wonderful lineup of readers this evening. Thank you to all those who expressed interest in performing in advance. I'll be posting the lineup in the chat in just a moment, and I'll introduce each reader before you go up. If for some reason a reader isn't in the space when their name's called, we can always circle back to them later on if they join us. Each reader has about 4 minutes to share. And throughout people's readings, I do encourage those in the audience to share comments in the chat, affirmations, use the reactions, anything that can really help support all the people coming up to the mic, because it can be a very vulnerable experience sharing your work and your voice up here. And then midway through our open mic readers, we again have our wonderful feature, Shaiye, who will be performing, and then we'll close with the remaining open mic readers. And so with that, I would like to invite up our first reader for this evening. It will be Norm Maddox. Welcome, Norm.
Oh my gosh, caught me by surprise.
Surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Hello, hi. Okay. So I'm going to read this piece. I think I've read it here maybe a year ago, a couple of years ago. In any case, it's a dear piece, and then there's another piece that's new. So, ashes yearn for company, a partner in life, a trajectory of happily ever afters. She went away love, she came home grief. She packed all her smiles, boxes stacked to the ceiling, handwritten labels, block letter kisses, bubble wrapped hugs, closets full of memories. Feet used to walk in those shoes, a parade of sisters standing in formation. Joy in grief that she comes to visit anytime, uninvited on her whim. No plans on being miserable, leaving the closet door open to crack. Fingers, hearts, eyes read the card with the signature written in her hand. Confident she is welcome, although she has her own key. She knocks every time. I let her in. The door left ajar. She has a long shadow. I have other things to do. She won't stay as long as her shadow has a place to stand. In the hat, in the closet, ajar. This other piece is something that you might recognize or hear on the train, the BART, but this is a refrain that when I get on public transportation. Sorry for the interruption, begins the soliloquy for anyone listening. Sometimes it's a parade, Other times it's a charade. Turn the volume up, escape into earbuds. No look, don't want to see, don't mean, don't exist. How to shelter in place without shelter. Person is homeless, not hopeless. The courageous beg on their knees like praying to God, pleading for food. Shiro to her hungry child is brave enough to look for humanity in a subway car full of blank stares and deaf ears, reciting her plea like a mantra. She sees the tops of hats, her reflection in sunglasses, the look away that reject her presence. Disdain shrouds her like a veil of invisibility. She peers into eyes looking for compassion, sees only shame. Not even we can turn away from the shame looking back at us from that dark, soundless place inside the well-fed, furnished home of our heart. Peace.
Thank you so much, Norm, for starting us off. Always wonderful to hear your words. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Always. Next up, I would like to invite Raymond Nat Turner up to the mic. Welcome, Raymond.
Now, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. I have one piece, and it's called, its title is Nuclear White Male. Quote, all governments are run by liars, and nothing they say should be believed, unquote. I.F. Stone. 1, maybe my poetic license was pulled when I let go of leprechauns, Santa Claus, and tooth fairies. Maybe my race card was canceled when I wrote LOL on Black Lives Matter. Maybe my access to bunkers of Bass Ackwards tribesmen, Tom Ass Clarence and Strong Arm Williams went poof. Maybe fine print on my race card always read, quote, drop to your knees, cover your head, and kiss your ass goodbye. But neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. 2, the gangster who's nuked threatens the world weekly in gangster code. All options are on the table, and a rival gangster just delivered less veiled fire and brimstone for our planet. Delivering rogue State of the Union, the gangster who blew his cover, bleeding, I'm a capitalist. The other gangster, intelligence wet work oligarch, owns French Riviera, London, Manhattan, Miami mansions, complimenting jet, yacht, Caribbean bank account. Neither nuclear white male briefed my Black ass about encrypted back channels for dividing the world into spheres of influence, into multi-billion-dollar deals, ports, plants, wells, mines, factories, before shooting and looting began in earnest. Neither nuclear white male briefed my Black ass about brinksmanship, Wolfowitz doctrine, and other nuclear Armageddon games for raining radiation on our rainbow parade. for snapping food chains like cheap necklaces, for gifting survivors cool cancers, birth defects beyond the day after. Neither nuclear white male briefed my Black ash about cloudy mushroom plans. Neither brought me to the table to talk about incinerating Mother Earth's peaceful working people. Neither pulled my coat about hitting Harlem, Oakland, Odessa, Siberia, Skid Row sacrifice zones, and unhoused encampments. Neither nuclear white male briefed my Black ass about their plans to make me blue, unlike Euros I know who often go exclaiming, "We bombed Iraq, we bombed Afghanistan, we bombed Vietnam, we sanctioned, we overthrew, we tortured, we." Maybe dark skin keeps me in the dark. Iridescent shadows of Arab Spring, George Floyd summer, Striketober, with warehouse and grocery workers whispering unionization plans, nurses fighting fiercely for PPE, student teachers, parents, hunger strikers struggling, keeping schools open. We heard it through the grapevine.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raymond. Always so much to think on from your poetry. Next up, I would like to invite the Poetivist. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, and good morning from Ghana. I'm the one told each crimes.
It sounds
Let me
like
tell you the truth.
your audio is going in and out a little bit.
Okay.
It was
Can you hear me?
pausing. Your audio was pausing?
Okay, am I clear now, please?
Okay.
Let me tell you the truth of the village. When the sun flirted with us, night came in shadows. We were sent away by a wind that lost way here. The taste of our iniquities hovered on our tables. Our very important people seriously broke the village pot that we were all eating from, and we couldn't say a word. Last morning, our father was told the truth of his tongue. They say he went through the back of his wife, our mother. We stayed nursing our sorrows. It was when the nakedness of our eyes left enough at the village square that the chief boldly slept with the wife of the priest. When he, the priest, went to pray for the chief and the village, the daughter of the chief also fortunately slept in love with the priest. They made enough love to interrupt the silence of daylight. And the servant of the priest, he also grabbed the twins of the queen mother in the shrine. Come and see cemented kisses pounding. Could you believe the concerned neighbor who saw or called it sacrilege? He bought truth to pay the debt of this fraudulent village. But the people, my people, our people, your people, came for him at the neck. He said he has abandoned the land with a curse. So the priest requested for his head. What did he do? He has questioned the skin color of the priest. He informed the people, the chief licking his hands at having. So today, our current elders to go pouring vodka over his grave. I don't blame them. I don't blame anyone. They say It is to redeem us from the curse. When the sun flirted with us, night came in shadows. So that's my first poem, Village and Crimes. My second poem is titled Heavenly Crime, and I featured God on this one. So this is Heavenly Crime. The naked street holds the children of the Lord hostage. They ask where he stands in this unwanted chaos. But silence seems to find itself upon God, living strange voices of comers to lay in state. I hear thanks lament of heaven selling water to a drowning man at the outskirts of his hope. And the Lord knows that the village has crumbled into sorrow. So that's Heavenly Crime, and it featured God. My last poem for tonight is titled Cantamanto, and Cantamanto is, in English, we say, you swear and it happens. When you swear, it happens. When you swear, it happens. So this is Cantamanto. We have come to rest where heart breaks our mind. We have come to worship where God's no longer divine. Soon the laughter of this place will embrace our freedom. But we have come to carry on for this body. We have come to root to belong for the truth. So if these names get lost on the tongue of our mother, remember, we have come to live in the root of this village, to pay witness to the unknown and redefine the undefined. So if we hear these names, we bear our names in the root of this village, and we are the birth of our mother. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of those pieces and for staying up late to join us as well. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Allie Jones up to the mic. Welcome, Allie.
Thank you, Nia. Oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. I just want to continue in that energy and honoring the fierce women who've come before me. Her Story Month, there's so many whose shoulders I stand on. And so, yeah, this piece is in honor of that. It's called Siren Rising. I don't want to remember my life before mermaids. I was raised by saltwater queens, blessed by magical beings of mythic proportions, daughters of Yemeya and Gumbo. Those who remind me of the beautiful resilience that lives within us, coiled crowns adorned with cowrie goddesses who maintain the grace of a gazelle with the ever-changing tides, mes sirens, my mermaid queens, flowing, crashing, rising, my grandma Genevieve, cayenne pepper royalty, celestial matriarch, soft, yet steady as a metronome in the kitchen with a laugh that could brighten any dim room, unafraid of what is to come because her certainty is founded in love. Her setbacks created the beginning of her greatest comebacks, flowing through the roughest currents and remaining strong, flowing, crashing, rising, Mother Teresa, calming like rosemary and gentle as gardenias, earth warrior, who taught me to respect and protect the earth, to value all forms of life, holding space for her softness and her offspring, unconditionally magical, conjuring potions that transformed the flu into a slight sniffle, or inventing the perfect bedtime story she grew in the midst of adversity, never allowing fear to stop her pursuit, crashing against every judgment or expectation with determination, flowing, crashing, rising, mes sirens, my mermaid queens. Cousins who remind me that I could do anything. Sisters that challenge me to seek softness in times of pain and trauma, to look at myself in the mirror untarnished by self-loathing. My aquatic angels who keep me sane when all I thought I could ever be was crazy. loving with our hearts wide open, guided by our gut feelings and our star signs, rêveurs, croyants, amants, et guerriers, dreamers, believers, lovers, and warriors, rising above black holes of doubt, insecurity, and fear, flowing, crashing, rising. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so, so much, Ali. That was absolutely beautiful, as always. Next up, I would like to invite Joyce Lee up to the mic. Welcome, Joyce.
Hi, I look like I'm grown. So I have two short ones. The first one is called Knock Knock. An oppressor and a Zionist walk into a bar. Both have God, guns, and shit for brains. Stop me. You've heard this one before. This the one where Jim Jones was the DEI trainer and bartender, saluting in Seg hail salutations endlessly. You hear the one where rabid murderers criminalize rebels after adding more notches in blood to their blue line band of uniformity. Hey, Jim, the Zionist says, pour me an occupation. My ally will take a baby in a cage with a twist. They pause and pour swigs for the niggas. No longer here. Stop me, please. I'm sure you've heard this one before. Them laughing at cheap drops while belly full on vats, toasting the God of Dylan Roof, making Black folks pray. The pun is invariably God, is in every room, but not in every body. The Almighty remains impartial and still silence, and is therefore an accessory to the entire crime scene. This one is called These Things. Tell me a way to tell you my teeth are floating. 40s in the front seat of sanity, a lot of last times driving for the first time. At this point, I'm sipping stale nightmares. Calling drunk to dial, ditching men who call themselves boys as friends at a bar. You could say I'm tired, but I've never picked cotton. Choices pointing to hard tears are irrelevant, at least when they come from this body. Cries sealed over backwood blunts that fall alone in a forest of foreign realities and no one hears. Why my face a funhouse mirror at the bottom of this bottle? What the carbon been saying about my mama? Have I been fermenting longer than what I am drinking, empty as floating teeth? I once was a sober child, Your Honor, until white headlights blinded me and I crashed, until concrete shook hands with the moon with me in between, until pipeline tested the intelligence of my third grade rib cage, made me as guilty as my DA and guard. I'm only as responsible as the average slave trade, Your Honor. Only field fire rebellion, only antebellum tears of white feminists, only as naked as the field I first fucked in, only as illegal as women fucking, soft as floating teeth. My safe word is reparations, Your Honor. These chains are not consensual, unconsented rape fantasy, Your Honor. I am ripped slurs, dripping, bloodied body bagged, black at the bottom of a bar in a black at the bottom of a bottle in a white bar in Minnesota, thinking on these things. Thank you.
Wow, that was something. Thank you so, so much, Joyce. It's always incredible to hear your writing. I'm going to share one piece and then introduce our wonderful feature for this evening. So this is a new piece, and this is from my hometown of Redwood City. It's entitled 650. They name the streets after presidents around here, the dead and not so dead. They alphabetize them, rank them, make entrance exam of our sidewalks. It helps us remember that our streets, like our surnames, are somebody else's blood legacy. I didn't live on the other side of the tracks, but I lived on the other side of Jefferson. To some, I just repeated myself. I didn't live on the other side of the tracks, I lived on the other side of Jefferson. A surveilled intersection, a crosswalk waiting to claim another school child. My mother gripped my hand tightly at every opportunity. She knew Clinton was too busy to ever see us coming. There was never any place to park on Adams Street, and our neighbor kept his 3 Jeeps, his boat, and his nephew's fleet in the red zone he painted for himself. My mother still writes chalk messages along the pavement, telling them that 2 cars can fit in this space in front of our house. She is proud of her curbside protest. a reminder that we're not going anywhere. In 4th grade, my friend and I used to post up in my backyard with a pair of binoculars, spying on the gangs in the apartment building behind us. Today, I visit my parents and poodles and puffer vests walk down our potholed alley. I seem to have misplaced my binoculars. They named the streets after dead presidents around here, installed flashing lights, painted a mural of brown children on the side of Whole Foods. Our block is now worth millions. I imagine my mother the first day I walked to school alone, anxiously perched on the top step of our porch, willing the cars to slow down. They only see you when you're coming from the other side of the street. I still look both ways before I cross. Thank you. And with that, it is my honor to introduce our featured poet for this evening. Shaiye is an autistic Somali writer and photographer from Seattle who now lives in Minneapolis. He is a disability storytelling graduate assistant with Minnesota Transform. He is published in Pithead Chapel, 580 Split, Entropy, Diagram, Rigorous, and elsewhere. His debut book, Are You Borg Now, was named a Minnesota Book Award finalist in creative nonfiction and memoir. Welcome, Saeed.
Hey, sorry guys, give me 1 second. I'm still getting set up. This is terrible. I'm on poet's time.
We're always on poet's time.
Right.
Well, in the meantime, this is an incredible book that everyone should get a copy of. And I'll drop the link in the chat, but we have copies at the MoAD Bookstore. So I highly, highly encourage you to get a copy of Saeed's book.
Thank you. I really appreciate the plug. All right.
Landon also has his ready.
Yeah, could we let Landon go real quick? I'm a please, thank you.
Surprise, Landon. You ready to go up?
No, I'm way out. You go ahead, bro. Take your time. You got it.
All right. I always feel rushed.
No worries. Take your time. In the meantime, I will post the second half of the open mic lineup in the chat so folks can get ready. Also, another quick plug. We are reading Saeed's book for our African Book Club this month, which is meeting on Sunday, the 27th. So please get a copy of the book and join us for that conversation. Saeed will be joining us for the book club to talk through this book, and we'll hear from him reading from it. So I think it's going to be a wonderful pairing with this event too, if you want to hear more. So again, I have many links to drop in the chat, but I will drop that one as well and hope that you all join us too.
This is top 5 worst being late for something events in my life. And I'm consistently late for things too, so that's saying a lot. Woo. How about this weather, huh? Boom, 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 put that there. Comes in. Turn that light on. Camera studio. Let's see. Okay. Boom. Headphones. This is, I feel like Kanye West making y'all wait for the album. Okay. Everybody hear me okay? Okay. Close that out. So I recently found out I have ADHD. And one of the things about it is that we don't really know how to we have a hard time with time. I think it's fitting that I ended up a poet because, you know, poets work in time in different ways. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Quote, a practicing Muslim who believes the word of the Quran to be the word of Allah, who abides by Islam, who goes to mosque and prays every Friday, who prays 5 times a day, this practicing Muslim who believes in the teachings of the Quran cannot be a loyal citizen to the United States of America, end quote. Brigitte Gabriel, born Hanan Qahwaji, Lebanese-American anti-Islam activist, founder of ACT, whose mission is to lobby lawmakers to introduce anti-Muslim policies. She wrote a string of anti-Muslim propagandas, notably, "They must be stopped, why we must defeat radical Islam and how we can do it." I think about people like her when I wonder why TSA is always harassing me, no matter how many complaints I file or how innocent I think myself to be. The problem is not you, young. The problem is not me. The problem is this country. All right, this piece is called How Claudia Rankine Walked Me Through 9/11 in Afghanistan, Why This Country Hates Me. In 2003, this country was obsessed with Afghanistan, a patriotic fervor in the air, which said, we must invade them and save them from the Taliban. I must have been 13. I'm now 33. I hit refresh on my Apple News feed. Story after story talks in code. Islam represses women. Of course, those aren't the words they use. They say, the Taliban will set women back 20 years now that they've taken over Afghanistan. We all know what they mean. How do I know? Because I'm an expert at reading Islamophobic code. It's etched into my joints from years of bending myself to seem like less of a threat. There were whole years I didn't even mention my religion or its tenets. That kind of internal silencing isn't good for the soul, like drinking rancid chicken soup with Americana on the label. Claudia Rankine wrote about all this in my favorite book of all time, Don't Let Me Be Lonely. I love that book so much. I marked it up and down and wrote all through it. Then I gave it to a friend. Then I bought 2 replacement copies, one of which is still in its packaging. I don't ever want to lose that book because it will always remind me that I don't want to be lonely, even when I am alone. I think about it now as I reflect on everything happening with Afghanistan, everything that has happened, that will happen. And I think of all the ways this country has destabilized parts of the world that are home to people like me, and how this country criminalizes people like me who only know of one home, this country. I think of all that as I hold my long blue book, Don't Let Me Be Lonely, across its front. I hold it and I'm comforted by the fact that I'll always find peace in this book, if nowhere else on earth. I'll always find peace in Allah, nowhere else, and He is always with me. And that comforts me even more than Claudia's words, because I know He created her and gifted me those words through her. And in so many ways, I'm comforted by the things I love, concepts I love, the Lord I worship, all of whom are disserviced by my mortal attempts to praise them. But I praise Allah over and above anything they associate with Him. And I thank Him for everything. Yes, even this poem, even this poem, even this. This next piece is called Larry 141-20493. And I get impatient with people for not knowing how to read my voice, but then I forget how long it took me to learn to read Larry Levis's voice. But I knew from jump that there was something in his syrup that needed me to hear it and be with it in communion. And even though I'm Muslim and we don't pray to the dead, I do believe that Larry's words travel to me from the other side of his life, and they understand me in ways I've never seen anyone alive do so. So I guess in a way, me and him are brothers in life outside death, much like Biggie said. not life after death, but life outside death, which is another way of saying that language has a way of reaching past our flesh, blood, bone, spirit, marrow, tongue, tissue. When it grabs us, it holds us, it shakes us like loose shake joints, rattling our understanding of the universe and most especially of our place in it. And so I find myself reflecting in this bougie Nairobi cafe that I'm pretending to be at home at, and being harassed by bees at, and being surrounded by Adans and elites at. Where my people at? Somewhere quiet, waiting for money to fall from the sky, or at least an answer to their prayers. And if that answer is monetary, they won't complain. But me, I'm sitting sideways on the train, boxcar racer, blink, navel gazer, wet Willie Frazier, Kaiser Permanente on the equator. This next one is called A Man Who Prays with His Gun. I wanted to write a Galkaya story about goats in a mosque, about a man walking into that same mosque with his AK-47, setting it down before him to pray, and how I'd look back a few years later thinking, did you come to pray for the sake of Allah, or are you worshiping that gun? In hindsight, I realized that one must defend one's life whenever possible. Just because you walk into a mosque with a gun doesn't mean you'll kill everyone inside it, unless you're white. It means you want to live while living in a country where life is ever in question. In Islam, we are taught to put our full trust in Allah. In Somalia, you trust Allah, but you also trust your strap because you can't always afford to trust your neighbor. You maintain faith in a predetermined time for your death, but you also stay strapped. You just want to live. I just want to live. Goats walk into mosques, you know. Goats also press themselves against the sun-baked walls of houses and fall asleep standing against the chipping paint. I always imagined that they were praying to Allah in their own way. It could be that they were just resting, but Allah knows best. I like the stories in my head better than the apparent reality before me. Stories are more exciting than reality. Reality makes me sleepy, makes me want to get under the covers, makes me weepy. Okay, diary, that's all for now. I have to get dressed and pretend to be some kind of professional, some kind of wonderful, some sort of African extraordinaire. I'm just trying to make it, dog. Like a man who prays with his gun, like a goat eating cardboard under the Somali sun. This next piece doesn't have a title. The thing about life is you never know where it's taking you, and the poems still flow from my inkwell as if it were never interrupted. Calvin and Hobbes taught me no one ever really knows where they're going until they get there. You'd think more people would have more direction in life, but it's just workday to workday, weekend to club shift, after party to morning regret, and that's their life. You can't even call that a life. That's merely existence. People don't seem to understand that we only get one chance at all of this, like a kickflip. You have to stick the landing. You must be sure of your foot placement, even when you can't see the board circling under you, like a tray flip. You must know where your feet will land. You only have intuition to guide you. Any hesitation means you could land on trucks instead of grip tape. And with the momentum of that 360-degree angle of flip, it's enough to snap your ankles to the joint. That's a metaphor for life. Walk firm. Know where your feet will land, even if you can't see nor fathom the rotation of the earth or your life on it. All you can do is keep walking, keep it kicking and pushing and kicking and pushing. And it was said that no poet ever leaves his mark on this earth until everything he was meant to say leaves his lips. And it was once told, snowdrifts, angle for Montana's switchbacks, snakeskin, Birkins keep the youth in trance. Remember progressive trance concerts, digging holes in floors, holes in the soles of my Vans, holes in the pockets of my jeans before it was fashionable. And this was no fashion statement. This was merely a neo-beat lifestyle. 3 generations removed from that San Francisco crowd. Hesitation, wipe the tears from your eyes. Shoot like Derek Fisher, ain't no nigga cross the line. Wish I could see you, my dog's living in the sky. Wish I could see you, my dog's living in the sky. This next piece is called Wanlume, and it's a combination of Somali and English. Look here, buddy. I came to write an essay, something about Islamophobia, about how being a Black writer is blah, blah, blah. But see here, bud, words are failing me, and the absence of letters is in fact the presence of meaning. As a matter of fact, my point being that anything other than what I came to say today is a waste of both our thighs. What I'm trying to say is something I can't quite recall, for lack of proper recall. Thoughts take flight like bird calls. I came to write something urgent, important, but the words just aren't forming. I call it poetry, but the lines are too well worn. Marka haddaan af Soomaali kugu bedelo, gabay ma noqon karaa, aniga poem ma noqon karaa. Waxaan ka wado haddaad fahmi kartid, let me hear you say, ah, hey. halargaray sidaan u wado bahashan wax qorqobka waxaan rajaynaa inaan meel ku gaaro. Where that mail is, only Allah knows. In the meantime, we write this prose and love this prose and chase this prose, never replace that prose. Bro, can you hear me, bro? My living room smells apple cider vinegar. Oh, this one is called We Pray, So Pray. Old head at the masjid said, we only ever see you for Ramadan. Young head smiled and said, well, good thing it's Ramadan. This next one is called, and now I have more than I began with, which is good. Back home, they made fun of me because I couldn't sit on the floor very long. They'd say it's because he's from America. They have too many chairs there. He's handicapped, too many chairs. I do have a disability, but it's not what they think. They can't see it. Autistic. They can't see me, but that's all right because these poems see me, and so does Allah. Alhamdulillah. This one is, well, you can't see it, but it's a screenshot of a WhatsApp conversation I had with my uncle, Abti Burhan. Yeah. The first person speaking is him, and then I respond. Abti, it's not a big deal what you have, but you're scared from Africa. I respond, I'm scared in general, Abti, regardless of location. He says, scared of being in Africa? I say, no, generally scared of life. How about death, he asks. Only when I get sick. So he says, you need to live life and face reality. If you're scared of life and death, you will not enjoy life. To which I respond, if only it were that easy. This is not a choice, Abti. This is how Allah made me. This one is called Variation on 2 Beats by Gangsta Gibbs. I want it all, nigga, all leather. Hardwood floors and frozen shoulders. Sunshine drifting till my soul is colder. My older soul come coughing out my lungs like a There once was a man from these parts who no one really knew. The city reminded him of all the northern white cities he once knew, from Seattle to Kalamazoo. Now he's looking back at time and asks if there's a lesson to be learned. To leave this earth, one must come to terms with one's purpose. One's furnace must be furnished by the departments of commerce. One's earnings must be counted, stacked, chipped, reduced, audited, edited. Audi 5,000 watts, transition, change the speed, change the flow, change the season. It's 10 a.m., but it feels like 2 a.m., which feels like 2 p.m., which is really just another way of saying don't rhyme your lines if you don't spit phlegm. And if you cough in a coffee shop, don't ask where my phlegm is from. Now I'm thinking about that old white man who walked up to me in that same coffee shop where I spit phlegm, came within inches of my face, sneered or smiled, or whatever the fuck it is old white men do when their faces are within inches of my black face, and he whispered loudly as if it was a secret recipe or the key to unlocking universal knowledge. He said, Black Lives Matter. He stood there a full 2 beats, grimacing, eyes wide, staring me down. He paused for dramatic effect. Okay. I wish I had a cookie in my back pocket so I could crumble in front of his crusted face. I mean, like, you want me to congratulate you for not wanting to lynch me? Or maybe you do want to lynch me and your line was meant to disarm. The thing is, being black-skinned in this country, my guard is always up. Even more so when white people approach me in coffee shops and other public executions. I want it all, nigga, all leather. Crack cocaine, that was my own investor. Fred Duquesne, that was my coldest mentor. And I never sold crack, but snorted plenty white snow, though. Snow drifts as I swerve in these Minnesota streets. Black SUV on clean. Black skin on apostrophe. Black siblings clogging my arteries. As I reach for a fistful of McFries on my passenger seat. I want it all, and if I got it all, I would give it back to all my people who don't have enough to rub 2 pennies with. Or broke but not broken. Never broken. And the most broken people I know have the most money. So there seems to be a correlation here. But I still want all my people raised up out of poverty, raised by absentee parents who helicoptered in only to tell their children all the things they could never be. Look, it's darker season and the dark man X is no longer breathing. Kodak Black once told me, I got niggas locked up and they losing hope. I got niggas I never met, but they're losing hope. I got hope that I never met that's locked up with those same niggas that I don't know, who may or may not be known to me, but all of us are losing hope. All of us are losing hope. This life is sometimes like a prison sentence, and sometimes I wonder if a sentence can contain everything those without hope intend to say. I wonder if this sentence I'm writing is as short as a sentence of a white-collar criminal, as cushy, as OG mushy. Anyway, you don't need me to tell you all the ways you're complicit in death.
You just walk up to me in coffee shops, asking pointless questions, shouting meaningless slogans. I touch my skin to your skin and hope it leaves you colder. Hope that leaves me warmer. And I know the length of my limbs has nothing to do with how cold my hands and feet run. Even when I run for my demons, the hands and feet run cold, like the blood runs cold, like Jedi mind tricks. I and I alone. I stood alone. I stood alone in the zone, listening to gangster music. Hey, white beamer, black child, white mask, black vial, quiet cash, big files, hog tie a pig clown. Do Black lives fucking matter now? This one is titled 6. Yesterday, found out that my family thinks I'm not who I say I am. The day before yesterday, I collapsed in a pile of peeps. Today, I woke up to sunshine, smothering the darkness within. Tomorrow, I suspect I'll be fighting back demons with a hell sword. Day 3 starts to cycle again. Aha, ha. Did sit-ups 2 days in a row. Day 3, I don't think so. This one is called 886V445. Within the space of a constructed book, I smile and breathe easily. Oh yeah, Alhamdulillah. There is no wrong way of being here. There is only here. I'm swimming in my hair. I'm a single man in America. All I have is sexual frustration and hunger. You were loved more than me is an easier thing to accept, and neither of us was loved the way we should have been. Our people only want to be entertained by a burning ship. They don't care that there's people burning on that ship. At times I forget, and then I remember, and then I slow down, and then I linger and simmer. And now I'm here, staring at the clock, 1:39 a.m. Before my people became businessmen and refugees, I don't know which one is worse. Before that, we were poets. We were poets, and then we became this. Our ancestors must be crying in their graves. I know I cry for our heritage, and all the poems we'll never write because we're too busy trying to upwardly assimilate, while our children die rich, empty deaths in this country of cold, degraded excess. Hold me close to your chest. Burn this memory until you forget. This one is a this is a poem inspired by the homie Tango Isamaran. It's called Heaven is All Goodbyes, but I hope it's soft. Softness of skin, softness of thought. Call me soft and I'll send you a heart. Emoji. No fisticuffs. Already got enough pain for one life. People used to call me soft and I feel ashamed. Now I call myself soft, the word I try and reclaim. Autistic, sensitive to everything. Autistic, we don't speak the same. Autistic, in every poem I sing. Autistic, every song I cry. Every tear I use to wipe the ink smudge from my pants cuff. Drowning in words, living for life. Heard it once told that life is wasted on the living, and death isn't something we should dwell on. All I can say is my life exists right on the fence between hope and hopelessness. It's like a seesaw, being autistic, always ready for a meltdown, an angry email, sensory overwhelm, need something soft to calm me down. The good Lord blessed me with soft skin, so I caress myself. I caress myself for comforting. My masseuse, 20 years in the game, once said I had the softest skin she'd ever felt, like velvet, like felt. I took the compliment. But deep down, I knew this is just another autistic trait, EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. One of its primary features is velvet soft skin. EDS is associated with ASD. I hate anything with syndrome attached to it because, like disability, it has negative connotations. What's a shorter word for connotation? How about, bro, pass me the cream cheese and a light. Pass me the hookah and a Sprite. Pass me the fatty food, which brings my stomach such delight. And if you can spare it, pass me peace of mind. Two lost lovers stuck between time, and the metronome hangs over all of us, ticking, talking, clicking, clocking. Something like this don't come around too often. Life, I mean, it's more precious than we can know. Bombs over Baghdad, bombs over Bay Double, bombs over Kiev, bombs over the Kurdish Peshmerga. Young nigga, ever a learner. Never have I clutched a burner. That's a lie. But I was born in the land where AKs are cheaper than sand, a piece of sand. And sand is all we understand. The sun is all we have. The blackness of our skin protecting us from it. White people colonized Africa, but 400 years after the Dutch built castles in South Africa, their skin still peels off. They can't even protect themselves from the sun, yet want us to believe we're the cursed ones. Anyway, none of that matters anyway. I just pray I get to see heaven one day. Wish heaven on earth for all my people. Wish heaven was easier to get into. Wish we didn't face so much pain. But as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said, the road to heaven is paved with hardship and the road to hell paved with ease. So if this life is any testament, heaven may be in our future. At least that's what I hope. And hope is all I have these days. When nights turn to day, turn to night again. When the blood moon serenades my waking dreams. When Larry Levis's ghost writes poems in Fresno, California, has them taken the form of dirt devils, sand tornadoes, is using wind to carve poems about nothing into nothing. And migrant farmers step over those poems as they pick fruits we tossed out of fridges. I got cousins back home who've never seen strawberries. I don't know what that means, but I should probably cherish this taste, at least while I have it. Lord knows they could be on their way. Shit, I think they knocking on my door right now. No knock raid. Ain't that how the last brother got tased? Sorry, I mistook their guns for tasers. Ain't that what they said about the brother they killed before him? Wonder what they'll say about me. Shit, I hope I'm not next. But every traffic stop means potential death in the land of never quite making rent. Ah, this place is hell. Well, that's not a bad thing. Hell leads to heaven, and heaven is all we have to keep us going. Heaven is all we have. Heaven is all goodbyes, and I hope I get to see you on the other side. And I hope heaven is softer than my skin, softer than this life. This one is called Autistic Death Sentence. Why they say we finna die 20 years younger than non-autistics? It is said that my life expectancy is short because I'm a man and also Black and also autistic, ADHD, PTSD, my big ass D. You know, all that blood flow to my genitals is probably hard on the heart. Early death, hardened heart, blackened like steak, black like onyx, onyx like my skin, skin like my thought, Robert Pershing, Black Thought, Robert Glasper, Billy D. Williams, Dal Asad Hadrawi, Nuruddin Farah. Young niggas still hoping for a way out of this rent sentence. And the homeless tent cities keep popping up, getting closer to me, so that it's hard to see the distinction between the people you step over on the sidewalk and the people stepping over you. Who is who? We're all trying to survive in this game, waiting for death to come in like a guitar solo. Pause the music. Man's gotta die, right? Tongo taught me that logic is not for the poor-hearted. Money is not for the poor dollar, and nothing you write in a poem will ever save you, but still, you should write your poems. And you'll still hear the footsteps of family departing the hospital as the doc unplugs you one last time. Let me write one last line before I die, dear Lord. Let my life not go in vain. And if you so wish it, bless me with heaven eternal. Ameen. And if you wish it, Lord, please extend my lifespan such that it passes the statistical curve of all the ways this world tells me I'm supposed to die early, violently, without getting a chance to write one more line. That's all I want. Just one more line of poetry on my mind, on my lips, out my fingertips, onto page and pad and Word doc. Maybe publish it as a blog post, and then I'll be ready to die, hopefully peacefully. This one is called Untitled Instrumental.mp4. Brother, can you spare a light or a dime or a bid? Just got done doing a bid. Institutions, Kodak. The cards I've been counting still can't pay my rent, and I'm losing hope. But hope is fickle, like depression, and can be relied on, like businessmen. Young, I'm still in the game, but the game is chopping me up faster than I can type the words which I hope will save me. But even if I stop typing, I'll need to find a way to save me. Ask the brother if he could save me. He quoted Kanye, Most Def. 2 words, United States. No love, tough breaks. Low brow, high stakes. 2 words, United States. Fuck you, pay me. So I paid the ransom and got him back to his family safely. Still handsome, but the cut across my cheek got me looking like Michael K. And the habits I keep under covers got me feeling like Michael K. Williams, anyone, Darren, D'Angelo, Ricky. It's getting sticky out back of my tenement shack. And the 10 cities keep creeping closer, rent getting higher, wondering how I'll provide for myself, for the family that I keep fantasizing about. wondering how I'll find a way to make it. And when I make it, how I'll doubt myself. Pharrell once told Kanye, no matter what you do when you make it, because you will make it, don't lose your hunger. It's all that separates you from the rest. And so now, as I rest, laid up in bed, I wonder, like Kanye, like Big L said, how will I make it? I won't, that's how. Almost done here. I got two more pieces. This one is called Goats Pray Too, you know. Bleeding goat, circling kite overhead, prayer hands, forehead, kiss green rugs, freshly laid, Eid, oh happy day. Didn't start out that way, but now after food, family, the kind I actually avoid, the kind I actually enjoy, not the kind I actually avoid. Some tea, qahwat, halwat, buskud, soft enough to be considered pillows, and a popped off plastic cap gun rings outside. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Oh, festive day, even though it didn't start out that way. Started out trapped in a ditch, 3 days deep, filled with regret, remorse, missed prayers, ghusl, missed fasts, feeling slow, guilty. On the day of Arafah, Allah descends to the lowest heaven, and so it is with fervor and hope that believers seek his forgiveness. On that day, I couldn't forgive myself enough to seek his forgiveness, and so I fell into a hole, deep, sunken place, quagmired, and now by his grace, I find myself coming back up for air again, somehow, and that's life, ain't it? We circle like kites overhead, black shadows overhead. We bleat like goats, black throats underfed, and we keep coming back to the source, hoping for a way out, hoping for some of his compassion to be extended to us. And now I write, pray for a way out. Keep your head, it be all right. You know how I know? Because you pray 5 times a day, just like West Side Gun said, West Side Saeed, out in peace. All right, it's about to be the last piece. Wrote this one in the Patrice Lumumba Writers Group, many of whom are here in the chat today performing. Those are my people. They have been invaluable to me, not just as a writer, but as a person. They really held me down, got me through some hard times, and helped me find a reason to enjoy writing again, to find my passion again after being really fucking jaded by this MFA program that I've been in. You know, MFA programs are hostile spaces for everybody, but especially if you're Black. You know what I mean? This one is called Pictures of Pictures on My Wall. Imagining a police state, one where my actions are not potential lethal mistakes. I pull my hoodie over me, tight, shawl, like a Pakistani shawl, like I'm on the Hindu Kush, rolling in pounds of opium seeds, freshly cultivated for those American fiends. And it's no secret that America fiends me, fiendishly, sees me as a beastly freak. It's no secret that my waking dreams are filled with children's screams. I am the children and they are me. It's no secret that police states terrorize us from day one, from grade none. I look at my people and see the living wounds of wars undressed. I see still warm bodies of zombies who may have never left those battlefields. We are still at battle with ourselves and with one another. Our parents push marriage, but truthfully, none of us are ready. Truthfully, those of us who marry are at least prepared for marriage. And so the truth is, none of us wants to die, but none of us knows what it means to thrive. None of us has tasted life. I take pictures of sunset now. Look at me, ma. I take pictures I hope will make you proud. I take pictures through bay windows as trickling rivers run dry. I take pictures of droughts and frame them above my bed. I take pictures to remind me that I'm not better off dead, to remind me I'm still alive, despite all my efforts to no longer be, to no longer linger. Saeed Shaiye. I take pictures of my bros, my gang, my squad. We take pictures together, but somehow I'm always left out, as if I am a ghost walking through life. And now I feel the lumps rising in my throat. Reflux, they say, but I know it's a traumatic response. It's a traumatic response being in this country. And these doctors were never equipped to give me the answers I need, only more trauma, more questioning. I take pictures of my family because in pictures I can love them better. In pictures I am less violent. In pictures the world is still enough to understand me. I take pictures of my pain as it leaves me the same way that cows emit methane, a slow seep. I take pictures of my shadow self, and all I see staring back is my happiest self. I take pictures now when the sun is low, when the sun is turning into a moon dipped behind bars. Lucky Charms kept me going when I was a child, taking pictures of my memory. I can see it now. 4 a.m, toothache, driving me wild. Watching Ninja Turtles to pass the night. Atlanta, waiting for daybreak and a tooth pulling. I take pictures of my life because it feels like it's passing me by, like the far side passing me by. I take pictures of my past so that I can hold on to it a little longer. And if I could, I take pictures of my future so it would be a little better, or at least more predictable. I take pictures of my traumatic responses and call them misunderstandings. I take pictures of my childhood and I picture myself standing, outlasting the last man. As the band plays one last stand, one last song, let this beat ride out. Let my enemies taste defeat right now. Let my blood ash burn, psych. No, I don't smoke. I take pictures of my pictures so that I can have something to frame. I take pictures of these words so that I can find time within. I take pictures of all my exes, and when they become my exes, I delete the pictures, like all my memories of them, especially their names carved into my heart. I delete the pictures. I take pictures of my shame, and I frame it next to the pictures of drought that clutter my bedroom wall. That's not a metaphor for having an empty bed. I just like taking pictures. That's it, man. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so, so much, Saeed, for gracing this space with your work. I just have so much appreciation for your words and your work and what you do. So thank you. And as a reminder to everyone, there's more, because Saeed's book is our African Book Club pick for this month. So please join us on the 27th, where we can talk some more. We can hear some more of Saeed's work. I'll share that link in the chat. And before we pass it off to the rest of our open mic readers, Saeed, I want to give you this space to share any other upcoming events or other ways folks can support your work, if you have anything to share with us.
I don't think I have any other upcoming events right now. Let's see. You can grab a copy of the book. It's on Amazon, but I'll refer you go through an independent bookseller because Amazon is the devil, but I understand. Let's see. Yeah, doing that book club reading this weekend. Not this weekend, but on the 27th, right? I'm looking for a job, yo. What's up? Y'all hiring? No, but for real, I'm about to graduate, so I'm trying to teach creative writing. So if you guys got any plugs, preferably online, you can check me out. My website, Shaiye.com. I'll post that. You can connect with me there as well. Read more of my work. Send me a message. Shaiye.com. Yeah, and help me pay this rent. That's about it. I'm just joking. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing the link. And again, everyone, put some opportunities in the chat. All right. Well, for the second half, I would like to invite Melissa Noel to start us off. Welcome, Melissa.
Welcome. Saeed, that was beautiful. I am also someone who is from Seattle, Washington. So you made me proud tonight, my brother. Thank you. This poem that I'm going to do, the first poem, is titled Queendom. Nia, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. I am a vivacious wallflower, a virtuoso word lover who seeks serendipity in all things peculiar. You may find me in the garden of reasonable confidence, collecting a menagerie of allies, self-esteem, determination, resilience, laughter, wisdom, high heels, and combat boots, in case I have to whoop somebody's ass for getting too close to my magic. I mean, my majesty. I am a huge mellifluous flower who enjoys the pollination of jazz, jubilee, and good old down-home jamboree from time to time. I am the ebullient one, whose light shines from within across the borders of intricate landscapes of my effervescent imagination. Friendly, lovely, lively, for I am lyrically and wonderfully made. I am here because of you. Yes, you. Now, take my hand as we journey through this glorious time together, breaking down the barriers that impede our potential to be great. And don't waste your time in the mayhem of ignorance or those cuckoos who don't see that you are absolutely brilliant. Now, shall we? It is time. It is time to sojourn our sassafras to the next level and become something more significant the world has never seen before. With that said, after you, my queen. That was Queendom. I'm gonna do one more, Nia. We are definitely experiencing many battles and levels of peril in certain parts of the world. So I just want to encourage everyone to keep going. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. So you have the ability to transform and cocoon yourself like a butterfly, ready to take on the newness of life so that you can take flight. In so many words, keep going. Keep going as all the others marvel at your brilliance, standing by idly as you glide like a gazelle, fearing not the air nor the wind or the isolated numbness that reeks in the shadows. See, sometimes you will feel like you are all alone, standing on the mountaintop, looking at the vastness and beauty of pastures all around. It is there in that moment that you must raise your braveness to a level so high that nobody can reach it. Move abundantly, swiftly, and powerfully so that no one can feel uncomfortable putting you in one category. Be different and keep going. When you feel that there's no more and you have nothing else to give, keep going. I know some days you feel so tired of holding up the sky all by yourself. I know you were attacked, ridiculed, and bullied. And like you, I know what it is like to be criticized, ostracized, and made fun of. I know it's complicated. I know it feels like they took your dream away. I know it feels like you've been destroyed. I know you feel like the world is against you. I know sometimes you feel that God does not hear your prayer, but I've come by here to let you know that you are a champion. I've come by here to let you know that you are not average. I've come by here to let you know that I see your struggle and I also see your greatness and progress forward as you fight through the pain. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Because I guarantee you, somebody is lying in a hospital bed right now fighting to live, scrambling on the edges of survival. Cherish the breath in your lungs because suicide is not an option. And believe it or not, with God, you have the winning formula. You will stand on your feet as the negativity falls by the wayside. You can turn things around and grow into your victory. You can do this. So if you don't hear anything today, please hear me say, keep going. Embrace change. Step into this moment right now. Change your mind and it will enhance your life. Keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing your words and those affirmations that we can all need to hear. So thank you so much. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Kelly Thomas. Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you, Melissa. Your words are like just what I needed to hear. It was definitely affirmations. This is my first time sharing these words that I wrote, and I wrote them as part of my healing journey. So your words were right on point for what I needed to hear. So thank you for that. The first poem that I'm going to write is called When All Feels Lost. When all feels lost, confined in a neglected cage of hopeless thoughts, when all feels lost. Let me out, eager to escape, but I am suffocating while cornered, yelling, screaming, crying, but no one hears. The silence is deafening. Enraged like a burning volcano, but I don't make a peep. While bellowing, get out, they ambush me like a no-knock warrant down into a hole, a deep, dark pit. Cramped with anxiety, pinning me down. Let me go, stifled, deformed by fear. Mangled yet, always wearing a mask, so no one knows when all feels lost. Until, you hear that? I said until I step away and demand distance between us. I become the observer, no longer entangled with fear and darkness. The energy flows, cascading light, empowered with control, disengaged and loosened, now liberated, emancipated. I am good, I am worthy, I am loved, I am free, and no longer lost. Thank you. The second piece I'm going to share is called Dream Killers. I've had some dream killers, quite a few actually. The first being my father not loving me. Negative self-talk kicked in promptly, followed by societal standards of not being a beauty. I grounded in complexity, so I dared not to dream, not knowing who I was with diminished self-esteem. Let's not forget my antagonizer, fear. The motherfucker seemed to always adhere to my broken spirit like a permanent marker tagging. If I even hinted at dreaming, angst came a dragon. Aside from the dream killers, I am still here today, emboldening the whispers that I am really okay. I'll make a new beginning to honor my gifts and talents. Prayer, meditation, and creating will clobber this challenge. I was created and predestined with extraordinary purpose. Not owning it and getting to it would be a grave disservice. They say I'm strong, intelligent, talented, gifted, and kind. The world awaits my contribution, unshackle it from the inside. I came to this world full of potential. Exhausting myself of God's favor is quite essential. Commission to die empty takes some time to proceed. I'll paint my masterpiece on this canvas called life before I leave. Thankful for those in my life who are dream advocates that pray for me and cheer me on, helping me feel adequate. It's time to arise and take my place. I have all that I need to run this race. No more tears unless I'm watering my dreams. The time is now, so rise up, Queen. Thank you.
Those were so, so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Kelly. And I know it's a vulnerable thing, sharing in front of an audience, but that was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. Next up, I would like to invite Eva Johnson up to the mic. Welcome, Eva.
Thank you, Nia. I am so happy and honored to be here today and delighted to be with this group. I have one poem, and as I usually do, I have a little music before and after. This poem, it takes a village to support an emerging Black poet with modified gratitude centers. When asked to pick a favorite Black poet to highlight for an online poets gathering, I chose two, Audre Lorde and Pat Parker. But then I thought, what about Lucille Clifton or Gwendolyn Brooks or James Baldwin or June Jordan or so many before and since? I know it takes a village to support an emerging Black poet. These greats had passed on. One I'd met, heard her read, but so many still live today. They help illuminate a Black poet's path. Picture the village I see filled with Black poets, women poets, Asian poets, older poets, queer poets, Muslim poets, brown poets, lesbian poets, Jewish poets, eco poets, Latine poets, Native poets, disabled poets, youth poets, transgender poets, musician poets, non-binary poets, Buddhist poets, artist poets, feminist poets, and even more poets, an infinite village. Come, meet some poets of African descent, still alive, who reside in my poetry library. Come celebrate on a day in February or on any day of the year. Alan Peliat Lopez, Amanda Gorman, Amber Flora Thomas, Arissa White, Ayodele Nzinga, Brittany Black Rose Capri, Camille T. Dungy, Cheryl Boyce Taylor, Claudia Rankin, Denez Smith, Daniel B. Summerhill, Dazier Grego Sykes, Douglas Kearney, Eve L. Ewing, Evie Shockley. To love and mourn in the age of displacement means this Black queer hoe and a contingent of Black faggotry, yes, each a citizen, look it up in the Book of Buck Studies. Don't call us dead, because even without a knife or a semi-automatic, we fierce poets use our tongues to navigate the red channel in the rupture. Mama Fife recounts our stories in verse as we ignite this trophic cascade. So at last, when we arrive at the hill we climb beyond electric arches, we find the Sorrowland oracle, divine, 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 who grasps the Black pearl. Grisel Yolanda Acosta, James Cagney, Jericho Brown, John Murillo, Joyce E. Young, Keith Donnell Jr., Mahogany L. Brown, Major Jackson, Marilyn Nelson, Mason J., M.K. Chavez, Morgan Parker. I made the move to discover poetry, contemporary American poetry, and you know I had to roll deep. I may never be able to explain the tradition or how it happens, but it's not just the crossbones on my life over a chlorine sky that become necessary things to pack on the way to everywhere. Watch my metamorphosis. Watch this magical Negro dance like black steel magnolias in the hour of chaos theory. Nazila Jameson, Norm Maddox, Pamela Sneed, Patricia Smith, Raina J. Leon, Rita Dove, Robin Cost-Lewis, Terrence Hayes, Thea Matthews, Tarita McKell, Vernon Keeve III. A profeta without refuge gathers American sonnets for my past and future assassin to unearth the flowers on the voyage of the sable Venus. This funeral diva uses her evolutionary heart to transform collected poems using Black calculus to create incendiary art. Her Southern Migrant mixtape, Listen Again and Again, is called Synchronicity, the Oracle of Sun Medicine. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Eva. That was just a joy to hear all those familiar names and favorite books in that poem. So many people that you called into the space and people who are literally in the space. That was wonderful. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Dion Jamal up to the mic. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, that's been amazing. Can I be heard? Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Me?
You just pause
Okay.
for a second, but we can hear you.
Right. Oh wow. My name is Dion Jamal. Piece is entitled, because everybody got me like, that I am. Because I'm me. Even before you tainted my mother's womb with your thoughts or perceptions, it's been written that the universe knew me. She gives me everything I need, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. It's not you that tells me my worth. To her, I'm as priceless like smiles on children. Your hate deemed me invaluable, a perception based on lies believed. Fooled me to thinking I was nothing. I believed in you. Acting in accordance to your wishes, I was playing the fool. However, scales that once blinded me are now removed. Ears once deafened by your screams of hate, now open to the sweet voice of truth. My voice, once trapped behind pursed lips and gritted teeth, is now free to speak. I am that I am. And my second piece is entitled Pigpen Epiphany. I am what has been before. Royalty carries upon civilization on the winds of instinct, across Kemet, up south the happy river, to the bare feet on the warm clay of Mexico. Warrior in stance, explorer in spirit, yes, I have chiseled immortality in exchange for plenty, built pyramids on oppressed soil, shielded midnight eyes along undiscovered sunsets, en route to destiny. Columbus, who? I, draped in gold, chains of gold, ancestral gold that lay chunky in the purple earth of Shaka. I have kissed the lips of Amazonian queens, drunk on the wine of victory, only to see them drown under the weight of bondage. I have run ebony fingers along the hull of a slave ship named Jesus, while blue-black faces wet blue-black tears. Yes, I am what has been here before. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for sharing both of those pieces. Much appreciated. Next up, I would like to invite Sylvia Blaylock. Welcome. Sylvia, are you with us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can. Wonderful. Wait, now we can't hear you.
Can you hear now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. My first piece is, first of all, I've loved it, everything. Oh my goodness, so good to be back. My first piece is algorithms. Like math, the world can be made to make sense if you know where to put the equal signs, unless it does not add up. Algorithm, a procedure or a set of steps used to solve a mathematical computation. It is the recipe. In a recipe, the total sums of the recipe do not equal the resulting delicious food without your actual input. You must cook. You are the X in the algorithm. The world can be made to make sense if you know where to put the equal signs. It is in the steps. The steps to get you to the desired outcome is an algorithm. In the steps, the total sum of the steps does not equal the resulting click. Without your actual input, you must move. You are the X in the algorithm. The world can be made to make sense if you know where to put the equal signs. It is in a choice. In a choice, the total sum of the choices does not equal the resulting choice that is your own choice without your actual input. You must choose. The world can be made to make sense if you know where to put the equal signs. That which is not equal is not equal. The beauty of math is that it is exactly that simple. In which case, subtraction, multiplication, more whole numbers, less fractions. And what have we got against fractions that are whole unto themselves in which their separate parts balance for their own sake? The equations and extrapolations require 6 quick steps for their creation. First, determine the goal as taught, aim them high enough. Spending time healing the ground while also looking at the sky enough. Access historic and current data and know it. Grab up your rock, see where you already tried to throw it. Choose one that skips, flat and heavy enough. Bounce it in your hand, get to know the crux of it. Visualize the skip and let that motherfucker rip. The world can be made to make sense if you know where to put the equal signs. Algorithm, a procedure of steps used to solve a mathematical computation. It is in the love. In love, the total sum of love does not equal the resulting love without your actual love. You must love. You are the X in the algorithm. And that's that first piece. My second piece is Rest in Peace, Betty Davis. And it's the piece that I wrote upon her passing. My heart is still broken. She didn't like her hair though. My dad raved about her. She had that kind of funky soul. She looked like she stank. I stared at the album cover and nodded. Yeah, she stank sometimes. She was probably too busy to bathe and liked the way the sweat cooled her. Sometimes she smelled of rosewater, lang lang, and sandalwood. I bet her place always smelled like patchouli and sativa blends. It was crazy creative in her atmosphere. I bet the smell of her could change your signature forever. I bet she stank something good sometimes. And her hair looks like she just rolled out of bed. I traced the image of her natural hair around her face on the album cover in my lap. I smiled, nodded, and began to laugh. Yes, I bet it does sometimes. Creativity is like that. There would always be this impossibility that someone that sexy should be that damn sexy. And that there was so much more to it. But that was indeed part of it. She looked like she stank, and her hair looked like she just rolled out of bed, the bed that I'm in. She was many days me, and we sang about the nasty gal. She was funky. Rest in peace and power, Betty Davis. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Sylvia, for both of those pieces, but you really took us to class with that first one. I loved it. Next up, I would like to invite Chengi Chang up to the mic. Welcome.
Hurrah! Thank you all for having me. I have 2 poems. This first one is called Swipe Right. Why are you wearing sunglasses in every single photo when they're all taken inside? Why do you only have one photo? And why is it a pixelated photo of your photo on a computer screen that you took a picture of? Why are you 1,067 miles away, but still asking what I'm up to tonight? Why are you holding different dogs in front of the same mirror for 3 photos? Is that what I'm going to be? A bitch you can hold the wrong way so it can't escape? Your bio is lion emoji. I bet my hand looks better around your neck than that choker does. How many blue, purple, green bruised necklaces have you given, making them into gifts that were deserved because jewelry is a girl's best friend and this one's even handmade? Why are you all smoking cigars on your daddy's yachts with packs of beer? Is white wealth privilege supposed to be attractive? And do you know how frightening a drunk man can be? Do you know that I think of how much physically stronger you'd be than me? And why are there always group photos? Do you not know how terrifying it is to enter a room and see only white faces looking at you like prey? When you cover my corpse with a white sheet, drape them over yourselves like the KKK, I'm the goddamn buffet that you'll eat with chopsticks. Because, quote, Boston got me loving these Asian women. Why are there always photos of you sticking your middle finger out to the camera, flicking off strangers, saying, fuck you, and both of us know you really mean, I want to fuck you. I am tired of people trying to fuck me. Just wanted to get to know you when you get frustrated by my questions. Didn't want to receive hot dog gifs from you, and didn't want to know you want to practice making babies with me while high. I just wanted to get to know you, and I guess now I do. And this one is just a picture of a square cat. The name Catloaf. The bio, just loafing around. Why can't everybody be a catloaf? Swipe right. That's my first one. This is the second one that I have. Let me just pull it up. It's called You. That you are so special. And I don't mean that in the way capitalism and neoliberalism use individualism to push an agenda. I mean in the way that of all the spirits that could have been born, it was yours that did. That the universe birthed in a burst of light and energy, you. And that you will never happen again the same way you do now. We witness the stars and say this meteor shower will only happen every decade. This comet will only pass every 100 years. This planetary alignment only happens every 400 years. We bear witness in awe and reverence for something we may never see again. And yet you will never happen again the same way you are happening right now. Not in a decade, 100 years, or 4. Will you ever happen the same? Will you ever streak across the earth the same? And this is what I mean when I say that you are so, so special. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much for sharing both of those pieces. That was especially beautiful. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Jinx Amavasia up to the mic. Welcome.
Hello, this is my first time performing my poetry, so I'm really grateful to have this space. I have 2 poems prepared. The first one is titled All My Love, but you may see it as rage, an ode to angry brown girls and not girls. We don't talk about angry brown girls enough, especially the ones who were never girls at all. Brown girls, not girls, I implore you, cradle your rage, stoke the flames. No one will be able to touch you. You will not see me wiping away my tears anymore. I am angry, and it makes me weep. You will bear witness. This rage saved me, but it will not save you. I clasp it in my hands, and the burning coal of anger sears off my fingertips. You never held these hands, felt them cup your face. 27 days for all the skin cells in a body to regenerate. You have never been held. Angry brown knock girls will fucking gut you. We will swallow dirt and thorns 100 times so that when we're swallowed by the earth, roses will sprout from our navels and creep their way to your window to avenge us in another life. We are power, power and laughter and love and more rage than you can dream of, cradled tenderly in our hearts. Rage, baby, rage. We will outlive you out of spite just to feel the queer thrill of watching you rot. We are your retribution, your reckoning. We are revenge. Angry brown knock girls will eviscerate you just to dance and scream and shout and pray over your grave. All my love to angry brown girls. Your rage is rebellion. It is restorative. It is radical. Only you see my rage and know it is love. So that was the first one. And the second one is titled A Warm Welcome to the Prologue. And I wrote, this was my first poem of this year. I died a quiet death for myself in the new year. The past year has broken my heart 1,000 times. And last night I silently mourned. I have had to bury 101 boyish things in the backyard of my mind, alongside the rotting remains of every past love and loss. Every time I create him again, from clay born from the earth, Bhagavati sculpting a lovelier than creation, a son to have and call her own. Sita sprouting from tilled soil and later being swallowed up by the very earth that bore her. He emerges 100 times over. The self-made clay creation breathing life into his own lungs. I am my mother's 100 times over. Just 100. The last death stays quietly within me. A clay creature burying himself in the same earth from which he was molded. The next emergence will be different, he swears. New year, new me. I've always yearned for a metamorphosis, to experience the magic of turning from land-bound caterpillar to papillon flitting high and safe amongst the leaves. But it is foolish to expect to turn from one to the other without the in-between. The labor of tearing yourself apart within your chrysalis, softening the clay of your being to create something new entirely, turning yourself to nothing so that you can finally make something of it all. Today, I hold myself tenderly. My rage and sorrow are so large, but my love will always be bigger. My rage is love, don't you see? I hold my rage just as I hold little Jinx within me. I'm angry because I love myself too much to forgive, but I love myself just enough to try to forget. I fell in love with him last year, truly and deeply. This year, I will hold him more tightly than I hold my grief. Here's to setting aside the catalog of grievances, to creating myself another 100 times, to finally learning to let go. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much for both of those pieces. They were absolutely incredible. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Landon Smith up to the mic. Welcome, Landon.
What's up, y'all? Shout out to everybody. Shout out to brother Saeed. There is no such thing as an empty bomb threat thrown at a black house. Greenwood and pine still can't move past the cement with marrow mixed into it, so excuse me for taking white history seriously as I walk down these HBCU steps with a target on my back for what another white board member bans a book from speaking on, and a black mayor steps in front of a podium to say it's a shame, or in these troubling times, or we are better than this, despite all of the proof otherwise. And matter of fact, who is we? Who be them people with backroom meetings? Who be them turning the wheel on the ship? Who be the we saying we are part of the problem, saying we do it to ourselves, saying we can't get respect until we respect ourselves? Who? Who? Who this we coming sideways out your mouth talking about mo pay for leeches to put up see something, say something signs, then pocket dial bomb threats to black campuses talking about we better watch our back, we better hurry up and die, we better go back now that labor costs more than the ground meat on my back. Who this we supposed to be part of? Who this we better than? Sitting on the left side of an abandoned building because I took white history for what it is and spoke to the remains of the last threat shoveled onto a whitewashed MLK quote, shoveled onto the left hand of a Philadelphia cut short, shoveled onto a Tulsa, a Rose, a red and blue politic peddling a capitalist treadmill, pumping a propagation that there are two sides. And they are not friends. And they do not have investments in GEO Group and CCA. And pandemic profiteering under the guise of some binary broken down for the fight of our lives every 2 years. Machine pumped out another think piece this morning, somewhere between the third tooth. It spoke about the benefit of swallowing black kids whole. To let a black child self-actualize is to let poison onto the plate. So we carry ghosts of a stolen fingerprint in the backpacks, crossing metal detectors set off from the weapons in our shoes. The weapons, the weapon, the weapon, they say. That kid got a weapon, they say. That kid is a weapon, say they to their next donor, pumping piles on black codes into P&L statements for shareholders and talking heads to pause and speak seriously about the seriousness of this next ballot circus. And the next tightrope artist will not just walk the line, will not say abortion 0 times, will not say Amnesty International was only wrong this time. So get your fellow cellar dwellers to strengthen that spine one more time. Put this binary on your back because it is the last beacon and it matters because you matter. You matter. You, Matt, you, Matt, you are the key to this next one. It's all about the next one. Just wait until the next one. Put that fire down. Calm down. Just one more vote and it will all be okay. And did you know there are no black politicians in America? Or whatever metaphor they are saying the blood on this flag represents this week. There are no black politicians in America. And if you point at what you think is one, look again. Sleight of hand can be tricky, even more so when you take machetes to kneecaps saying your vote matters, and the Pentagon got more money this year. And AFRICOM keeps growing under a DEI training. And I saw another politician claim to be black on the 5 o'clock news. It was almost believable this time until they balled a fist and said something about tough on crime and school closures. And I was reminded that there are no black politicians in America. And I walked by another encampment on the Tuesday they tell me is the fight of my life for the 4th time in 2 years. And all we need is representation while New York Military Department marches down the street and Russia is the problem and China is the police state. And that over there, them. That's the problem. Look, over there. No, not here. Turn around. Look, over there. Go fetch, go. But call me home when you feel strong enough, Auntie. When the water can carry you. When your voice comes back through the sound soil spoke of. Call me home. Call me to a plot for something other than burial. Burial of one held hand. Burial of one lost meal, burial of one tear-soaked hug over voices speaking soil songs through blaring stacks of distraction, to find another dead end, distraction, to find dirt stains on pagan rituals peddled on severed elephant tusks telling stories of God in a gunpowder treason toasting over burned blubber and choking silence. I want you to remember to call me home. Call me into the space between where your hand rests on tired shoulders, sweating, trying to break grip from talons, talking about power and profit, somewhere at a forked road about peace being dead, or an afterthought of the last sane thought you had in the boat while the wrists were still yours. Somewhere at the rusted knuckle, clinging to parallel memories we made before the seasoning went on the whitefish, and that stew became all that was left of what might have been, had the salt not still been wet in Granddad's throat, and the mud didn't speak for the family trauma in my fingernails. Call me home before all I can do is forget to not remember how the village felt before the flames burned my feet. Trying to walk on water to come home, to a home I am too afraid to lose, and the scars on my wrist are all I have to point me on.
Wow, I have no words for your words, but that was absolutely incredible, as always. Thank you, Landon. I want to invite up Tarita McKell. Welcome, Tarita.
Wow. Well, Landon knows. Holla, 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 holla. Whew. Just, you know, it's just, it's really unnerving as a mother to constantly hear our children speak this way, having to face these things. Just, okay, I am in honor of Women's Month, but it's not just, you know, it's like being Black. It's 24/7, 365. So there's no, okay. So I'm gonna read a piece that I wrote for Mary McCabe, because they talked about South African music, South Africans, and they never mentioned Mary McCabe. They never mentioned Hugh Masekela. But this experience happened with Mary McCabe. So it's poetry prose, okay. Mary McCabe's CD rests on our wood dresser. Before bedtime sleep, recalling her chest beatbox rage on Zella Box stage. Audience dare not believe her feathers otherworldly. 2 airplane crashes she survived. Day's end, I descend on buff tan, coffee blue, coral floral mat, back toward dresser, dreams alert, firebirds approach. East window, dawn's promise returns, summer's heat, clothe my face tenderly. Peace is still, silent, astute, invisible force vacuums all far and distant sounds. No birds chirp, no wings flutter, no leaves rustle or tussle against the breeze. Earlobes wriggle, salute foreign speech incoming. Buzz. No, that wasn't a bug, a fly, mosquito, a bee. Sermon breeds another kind of testimony. Body, breath, lungs, heart, stop. Here's CD case, lift, suspend, rattle, then drop. Alternate universe has clocked my room. Palms, limbs, swept. Caress, covers, cocooned. I don't move or change the way I lay. I'm afraid till a cool breeze turns me over. Grants eyes what I can't believe. Miriam Makeba's CD has been placed next to me. Why? Who bequeathed her deed of trust? Recall Mama Africa, backstage at Serafina's play, San Francisco Orpheum Theater, narrating the massacre of Black South African children who ran in mass rebellion against the new language and syllabus of Dutch Afrikaners that purchased South African lands unbeknownst to the children who were gunned down for trespassing. Mary McCabe's eyes moaned a cry. Parents should never have to keep burying their children. Exiled 31 years from her South African home, she rocked steady in our collective blood bone, receiving waters early that morn. knocking at my spinal cord. 2 weeks before the ancestral ore rode her back home. So I don't know how to explain it, but I felt I wanted to read this because of her magic, of her mystery, of her power. And so I just wanted to share that. And another one is, oh, excuse me, trying to get to it. I was about 7 or 8, sheltered in place of mystery, excited by what could be. Cancer moonchild, loving family, wondering what it all means. The joy of having babies, so many yous and me's. Playing outside with scriptures, pictures in our backyard, looking over fence. Fences were not that high then. Little me could easily see into the neighbor's yard. They're having a gathering. Large circle of chairs rest on backs of lush green grass. Each seat occupied by men, women, children. Some hold babies, toddlers, different ages, sizes, shades of black, brown, light, bright, damn near white. I watch them laugh, talk, clown, joke, observing young couple center of the circle. Talk about their wedding. Talk about their soon to be husband and wife. Learning how to be. Dressed in pedal pushers and blouse, he in jeans, t-shirt. Kiss unashamedly, passionately, holding each other for all to see their pleasurable peace. Big dark eyes gaze into each other's. Nose touching, smile, while I, the child, experience my innards tingling. Think, I want some of that when I grow up. So that's the new one. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so, so much, Tarita. Your storytelling fills me up every single time. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got one more reader for tonight. Tongo Isa Martin, the mic is yours.
Wow.
Hey, hey. What's up, everybody? Our perfect confidence in the sun. In commemoration, every tambourine 1,000 miles in every direction, playing in a California rent party. Rattlers dancing and bleeding over guys non-white in skin. Waiting for the cornfield to shrug, we are forgetful, but your ancestors nevertheless. Slowing down the poem to the speed of sweet light, the speed of bedless deaths, the bones of fast friends near a pile of first fruits, a pile of imperialist failings. Oppressor and oppressed give their guns the same nickname. Underground working class sort of goes back to school, sort of studies revolution. The summer belongs to itself now, as does the sharecropper's God, as does the death mask that fits millions. Real advice from Malcolm. Real rose chords over my Memphis skeleton, a 10 apart before dying, playing to our waning blood pressure, our penny-plated gun, the last of the space turned tut. You know, white people would have sold us standing naked on anything. They'd have sold us off a huge garden crystal or peacock feather. Would have sold us off a stack of doo-wop records if they could. Would have sold us off the perfection of the cosmos. Forestry of drug paraphernalia, suburb spikes in the grass, syringe jungle like a sick bed, execution needle that became a society's bottleneck, preamble, noose talk, or nuclear scientists thank for their work, activists who don't scream black power, rather black component, a painful season gone sentient and well-dressed, taken as a whole, taken in puppet skin, a sentient Sunday that married 15 sticks of dynamite. We are houseless now and dancing our waistlines into a courtroom floor. City weeds of the other Confederacy. I doubled down on this poem, on this gang friendship. Signs of apocalypse in all directions. I've run this poem into the ground on my 5th skip meal. Today, Lord, we become even better friends. Dollar store notebooks in a mass context. Pen cap full of bullets. California color line is played out with necro protest types who sleep on the other earth. While we waiting to shoot on a muralist behalf that's waiting to shoot an old man's truancy of sorts, or tear stain on a Panther pamphlet, houseless bookseller speaking about Lil Bobby the Conqueror, a crisis of open air corrections, chemical extradition, and war songs wearing off. Around the corner from South Texas, you pretended that prison is a river. You married your American cop, black skin, white mantras, like normal speed bullets changing a normal life, like walking back to the United States in defeat. A San Francisco police chief says, yes, you poets make points, but they are all silly. Police chief sewing a mouth onto a mouth. Police chief looking straight through a poet. Flesh market, both sides of the levee, changing plans, both sides of the nonviolence. On no earth, just an earth character. His subordinate says, awkward basketball moves look good on you, sir. Yes, we are everywhere, sir. Yes, unfortunately for now, white people only have black history. We will slide the wallpaper right into their cereal bowl, sir. Surveil the shuffle. I'm a beggar. And all this day is too easy. I want to see all the faces of a wall every age it goes through. It's humanity, it's environmental racism. We call this the ordeal blues. Now crawl to the piano seat and make a blanket for yourself. Paint scenes of a child dancing up to a court appearance and leaving a man but not for home. Atlantic Ocean charts mixed in with parole papers. Mainstream funding, the ruling class only pacifism. Ruling class printing judges, fiat kangaroos, making judges hand over fist. Rapture cop packs and opposition whites all above a thorny stem. Cast plans picked out like vans for the murder show. Anglo saints addicting you to a power structure. You want me to raise a little slave, don't you? Bash his little brain in and send him to your civil rights. No pain, just a white pain. Delicate bullets in a box next to a stack of monolith scriptures makes these bullets look relevant, don't it? I remember you. Everywhere you lay your hat is the capital of the South. The posture you introduced to that fence, the fence you introduced to political theory. If you shred my dreams, son, I'll tack you to gun smoke. The suburbs are finally offended. This will be a meditation too. Love y'all.
Thank you so much, Tongo, for gracing the mic and taking us home. Thank you. I want to thank all of our readers tonight. This was wonderful, just such a range and so many voices, so many experiences in the space. So thank you. And thank you, Saeed, for that feature. That was incredible. This has just been such a wonderful evening. And so I encourage you all to join us again next month. This series happens every month. Our next open mic will be on April 24th. Our feature will be Portia Vo, so please join us for that. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat for everyone. Again, please do join us for book club as well on the 27th of this month to get more poetry, more conversation with Saeed. And as always, we appreciate your support in all the ways, whether it's through attending our programming, becoming a member, giving a donation to the museum. Always help us continue to show up for our community. So we really do appreciate that. And this month we're reinstalling 4 new exhibitions at the museum. So for those local to the Bay or maybe coming to the Bay, March 31st is when we'll reopen with some new shows. So please visit our website, MoAD SF, to learn more about those and come through the galleries when we reopen. So thank you all for being here, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care.